Okay. Where was the elementary school you attended?
Detroit, Michigan.
Okay. Was it in like the city or the suburbs?
Yes, right in the middle of the city.
Oh my. What grades were included in your school?
In my first school,
In your elementary school?
first through 8th.
Oh, wow. Did you attend it from 1st through 8th grade?
Sure did. Went to kindergarten there and then went to, I was president of my 8th grade class.
So that's like president of the whole school.
Mm-hmm.
Who was this? Was the school mostly white, or were there children of other races?
Mostly white.
That surprises me. So there were some black kids there?
No.
What years are we talking about? Like
Talking about from I was 5, I got out of there when I was 14, so 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, probably 1937, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. Well, I was there eight years, so.
yeah. So 1932.
See, I started when I was 32, when I was 5. I was born in 32. I was 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. So I started school in 1937. And then I went there for 8 years.
Yeah, and integration didn't happen until 25 years later.
Yeah,
So
there was no integration there.
oh,
But there wasn't any, the neighborhood we were in, it wasn't downtown Detroit, but you wouldn't call it suburbs either.
yeah.
You know, it was fringe maybe to downtown Detroit. 2 family houses, pretty well kept up, older neighborhood. I walked to school.
Was it mostly white people in that part of town?
Was there what now?
Mostly white people in that part of town?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, interestingly enough, there was a main street that divided. And on one side it was mostly all white. On the other side, the further you went, it was black. And then the further you went in the other direction, the bigger the homes got. So it was graduated out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My son. Okay, so was there any male teachers at your school? Or was the principal male? Can you remember?
No, I can't remember. No.
They're all ladies?
All women.
Here.
Thanks, Lucas. Okay. What was lunch like at your school? Did they serve lunch or did everybody go home? Or did some people bring their lunch?
They served lunch. I never stayed for lunch. I walked home. It was about a 15-minute walk both ways.
Even when you were 5?
Half a day.
Oh,
Not a full day. Half a day.
yeah. What did you have for lunch at
At
home?
home? Well, if I said an English pasty, they wouldn't even know what that was. But Mom
Like a
always,
meat pie.
meat pie. Mom always fixed me a. Watch it, honey.
Be careful,
Mom
Luke.
always fixed me a good lunch. I always had a good lunch when I came home. She was always there.
Oh, that's good. What was your personality like in elementary school? Did teachers like you, or did you do your homework, or were you kind of trouble and a slacker?
I was all A student. It wasn't A's, it was E. E for excellent.
Oh,
E for excellent. S for satisfactory.
and then what
U
was the
for
best?
unsatisfactory. And there was a big area that marked whether you were dependable, responsible, personality characteristics more than anything.
Yeah.
I think I was pretty well liked. I was president of my 8th grade class, which was unusual because I was a girl and usually a boy got that. And yeah, I had happy experiences there. Yeah.
What was your favorite subject?
I guess I'd have to say English because the teacher. I remember her name to this day. It was Mrs. Wycliffe. and she used to read to us, even 7th and 8th grade. But she would read classics and poetry, and we used to love going to that class. I can see her, she'd sit up in front of the room and read with expression, and you know, the kids didn't get that, and they just loved it. So yeah, I would have to say Mrs. Weicker.
So in elementary school, did you stay in one class all day?
No.
Oh, you went to different subjects?
Different class. We had music, literature, science.
So you didn't have like a main teacher?
Yes. You had one homeroom. You had a homeroom. And I think that was half a day. And then maybe the afternoon we had the different classes.
Oh. Do you have a fond memory of elementary school?
Very good. Very happy.
Do you remember a particular moment that, I don't know, from elementary school? A good one.
Well, let me think.
You told me about the bride, the wedding.
Well, of course, I don't remember that too. That was not necessarily happy because I wasn't the bride. You know, that was not good. It's funny, I just threw that and you would have laughed. I wish I hadn't thrown that away. Happy. I guess when I was elected president of the 8th grade class, because I can see that in my mind, they took a vote in the classroom, sweetheart, and she announced that I had won, and I didn't believe it. And then this is kind of off the record, I guess, but the girl that I want, and this might be interesting to you, that I could choose a vice president, and
Lucas.
she, Marion McKinley, and she wouldn't take it. And this kind of makes me sad because her brother was a Down syndrome child, and it made a big difference in her life. He didn't have the experiences that Sam has, and he was almost like a wild child.
Yeah.
And it really messed her life up because
she wouldn't become vice president because she had to watch her brother.
Well, I don't want to say it. I mean, how can I say it? It made a difference in her personality. She wouldn't get involved in anything social because she was afraid of being around her brother making an issue
I see.
for her. And, you know, back then there was not much training for help for Down syndrome kids. And I remember if he'd get out of the house, he'd just run wild. You know, his name
Sam would probably be like that if he didn't.
His name was Bobby. I remember that. And it made a real, and I that was the sad part because Marion lived right across the street from me.
Well, she was a good sister.
Yeah, but we never, I don't know where she went after grade school. You know, I don't recall where she went. But it did make a big difference.
There was no special education programs or anything?
If there was, he didn't go, that I know of. He didn't.
You don't remember?
No,
yeah.
He didn't go to it, Danielle. And it affected her in that she didn't feel she could bring anybody to the house. I know that, you know, and I'm sure that's why she turned down vice president. I don't remember who was after that, but I don't remember.
That is really interesting because I can remember Dad saying a similar thing happened to him in like junior high or high school. There was like a special needs kid that didn't get good education or was treated properly, and it always affected him. And then we get Sam.
Yeah.
Maybe we were prepared for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. How were kids punished? Lucas, how were kids punished if they did something wrong? Do you remember? Like, did they have to wear like a dunce cap, or I don't know. Did they have corporal punishment?
No, there was no hitting. I don't ever remember. I mean, I can remember some of the boys, Tom Hart and a couple of the other guys who were from across the street, and they were kind of rough.
Yeah.
And I remember Tom Hart got a hold of my spelling book, and he drew dirty pictures in the back.
How old was he?
This was 8th grade.
Oh.
And the teacher got a hold of it, and of course it was my spelling book. And I remember her calling me out in the hall and saying, you know, did you lose your spelling book? And I said, no, because I thought it was in my desk, and I went and looked, and it was gone. So he had taken it and done this, and it's funny what you remember. I can remember 3 teachers standing there. I can still see this. I remember leaving them, and I remember Mrs. Althouse saying, well, you never know, inferring, I think, whether she's a good girl, but you don't know, maybe she did do this. I always remember that. What they did with him,
that is true. But,
you know, I have no idea what they did with him, but there certainly was no corporal punishment. I don't ever remember anybody being... Now, again, remember, this was a middle-class neighborhood. And so,
and it wasn't like a Catholic school or anything?
No, and it wasn't... there weren't hardcore criminal types in there.
Right.
You know, that maybe you'd have to be more forceful.
Yeah. Did they have recess at your school?
Yeah.
Like the kids got to go out and play?
Yeah, we had big playground. We had recess. Played kickball mostly. The girls did. Girls were not encouraged in any way in sports, but I remember playing kickball. And we had bars to do flippy flops and stuff like that on, and I think back how dangerous they were because it was right over concrete. You know.
Yeah, they had that at my elementary school too. Some people like got their teeth knocked out.
I mean, it was dumb, but yeah, we did have recess.
Did they have like fence to block you guys in?
It was all fenced.
Oh.
The whole yard was fenced.
Okay.
Not locked in, but it was fenced. Yeah.
Did you have to wear uniforms at your school?
No, it was a public school.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I had.
Okay, boy, that was easy.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Life got a lot harder after that. Just for your information, from there, I went to an